Hi everyone, and welcome to this short video about some posters that I posted on Twitter that are showing my local neighborhood in a circular shape and with some design aspects. So I was asked on Twitter to record the workflow that I use to create these, and this is what this video is going to be about. So it's fairly easy. First off, we start in QGIS. I downloaded some data from OpenStreetMap, and specifically this a roads layer, a railways layer, and a buildings layer, and I cut them in QGIS to my area of interest. So basically where my neighborhood about here is present. And then I exported them in the shapefile format to my project folder. Next off, I wrote a very quick and dirty R script where we can first load the libraries, so tidyverse, SF, and Cairo. And then we read in the three shapefiles, and they're now SF objects in our session. And then I transformed or reprojected them from WGS84 global CRS to the local Swiss CRS. And next up, just mutated or created an index for every of these three SF objects that equals to 1, grouped by it, and summarized the first index. The goal of this is that in our layers we have a lot of features, and with these little snippets I can reduce them to one multi-polygon or multi-line features each. So let's run this shortly. So we now have so-called our dissolved one feature, which we'll see here in the console. Yeah, you see it's just one multi-line string now. And now we use the ggplot2 package to make a map. So let's run this so I can explain the code. Here's our map. First off, we just map the geodata with geom_sf. For example, data equals the buildings layer. In the aesthetics, I just fill and color the index, and then override the color and the fill with the color that I actually wanted to have. Then I add theme void to get rid of the axis and everything, and then with the theme function I just define color and fill of the plot background, and then gg save it to my path and with the file name DPI. Usually this would be higher, but for example this will do. And then we have an Inkscape project with just basically two layers, so layer 1 and layer 2, and we drag and drop our map into this project. There it is. And now what we want to do is create a circle with the same width and same height, let's say 200 millimeters, and just place it over our area of interest. Select both with shift and left click, and then clip set, and voila, there's our circular map. Now what we're gonna do next is to add a background just in form of a rectangle, and now tell this to move to it's already in layer 1, so let's just say let's take the map and move this to layer 2. So really can set it as some kind of background, and then we go to fill and stroke and give it the exact same white that we have from our ggplot2 export. Maybe add a title. Voila, and maybe make this a bit bigger, and Give it another font. Now this is not beautiful, but it will do for a purpose. And now we can maybe let's make this a little bit smaller. Like this, yeah. And now we can add these geometry, I don't know, design style shadings, whatever you want to call it. For this, I just use the create 3D boxes tool, span something open, change it to, I don't know, let's say my pleasing. For example, this one looks interesting. And then just move it onto our picture, and then move it to layer 1, of course, yeah, so that we have it in the background. And now comes the interesting part. So we select it, and with in the fill and stroke menu again, we can set the fill to a linear gradient. Now you see that everything has a linear gradient. If we have the flat color, we can give it some kind of color that it should have first. So maybe approximately the green from our map. And now we say make a gradient out of it. And now we have a simple gradient along the whole form. If you now want to make gradients within each element, which this form is consisting of, we can just take the edit path by nodes, and now we can select every element by itself, for example like that, and then go to the create and edit gradients. And now we should be able to, yes, you see, now I'm able to make a gradient for this part separately, for example like that. Now we do this for another part too. For example, like this. This looks interesting. Here mostly goes what I like to look at and don't have much of a system like this. And just Ctrl S, save it, file, export PNG image, just select the page, say 200 dpi, export here, draft.png will do, and then export. And here we see our draft.png, and this draft of a circular map with a design element is finished. So that was it. This is my workflow on how to create these posters. And if you want to see more of my data visualizations, you can visit tobias-stalder.netlify.app, where I showcase some data art and data visualizations that I did in QGIS and Inkscape. And you can see the link to my GitHub and LinkedIn and Twitter. And if you want to get in touch, there's also my email somewhere. So thank you a lot for watching this video, and see you.